Fear. I mean, it's a feeling that's as old as humanity itself, right? But what is it, really? And is there anything we can do to master it? For thousands of years, we've been wrestling with this question. And you know what? Some of the most incredible answers don't come from modern science, but from the ancient philosophers of Greece and Rome. So let's dive in and explore their wisdom together.
Just think about it for a second. The last time you were genuinely scared, what did your body do? Maybe your hands started shaking, your voice got all quivery, your heart was just pounding out of your chest. It's this deep, physical, universal experience. But have you ever actually stopped to ask why? Why does that happen?
Well, guess what? You're in some pretty amazing company. Because more than 2,000 years ago, the great philosopher Aristotle was asking that exact same question. This isn't some new age puzzle, it's one of the oldest philosophical questions about what it means to be human.
Now, these ancient thinkers, they weren't just satisfied with asking the question. Oh no, they were like doctors for the soul. They wanted to diagnose the problem of fear and then, prescribe a cure. So today, that's what we're going to do. We're going to follow their lead, look at one incredible diagnosis, and then explore two competing philosophical cures.
First up, we've got our lead diagnostician, Aristotle, and he didn't see fear as just some vague, fuzzy feeling. He put it under a microscope, creating this incredibly detailed anatomy of what it is, what it feels like, and who it really goes after.
Okay, so for Aristotle, the absolute key word in this definition is expectation. Fear isn't the actual pain itself. It's the mental shadow that pain casts before it even gets to you. It's a disturbance that's all caused by imagining a future bad thing. You have to believe something bad is actually going to happen.
And this is where his logic gets really, really cool. Aristotle says, look, people who feel like they're totally invincible, or on the flip side, people who feel completely hopeless, like they've already hit rock bottom and lost everything, they don't really feel fear. Fear lives in that tense space in the middle, where you've still got something to lose, but also just a tiny sliver of hope that you might get out of it okay.
And what's just fascinating is how he connected the mind to the body. He had this theory that when we get scared, all the natural heat in our body pulls back from the surface and rushes inward to protect the heart. And that internal retreat leaves our arms and legs cold and without support, which is what causes us to tremble, turn pale, and get thirsty. I mean, for an ancient idea, it's a surprisingly intuitive explanation for such a powerful feeling.
But Aristotle's diagnosis didn't stop there, with our own bodies. He knew that fear wasn't just a physical thing. It's also deeply, deeply social. It's all tangled up in our relationships and the power dynamics between people.
He basically created this kind of catalog of people who make us afraid. We fear the powerful, that's an obvious one. We fear people we've wronged, because we know revenge is a pretty strong motivator. We fear our rivals. But check out that last one. For Aristotle, the most terrifying enemy isn't the one who's yelling and screaming. It's the quiet, cunning one, whose intentions you can never figure out. You just never know if the danger is right around the corner or miles away.
Okay, so that's the diagnosis. Fear is a rational, physical, and social response to something bad we expect to happen. Now, what about the cures? Well, two major schools of thought popped up, and they each had a totally different strategy. Do you get rid of the thing you're scared of, or do you build a mind that is simply unafraid of anything?
Let's start with the Epicureans. Their strategy was to go right for the source. But for them, the source wasn't some rival or a real-world threat. Nope. It was something lurking inside our own heads.
Epicurus looked around at everyone and basically said, our biggest anxieties, the things that cause the most soul-crushing fear, aren't even real. He called them phantoms. And the two biggest ones? The fear of angry, interfering gods and the terror of what happens after we die.
And here it is, in his own words. Epicurus is saying, fear is a disease born from ignorance and superstition. His whole argument was, look, we can cure ourselves just by using our brains. The gods, if they're truly perfect and blissful, can't possibly be bothered with our messy human lives. And death? Well, death is just the end of sensation. You literally won't be there to experience it, so why on earth should you be afraid of it?
And the reward for all this rational thinking was a state the Epicureans called ataraxia. Just imagine a life of absolute serene tranquility, totally free from that constant background noise of anxiety. That was their ultimate goal, a deep, stable peace of mind, all by just kicking those phantoms out of your head.
But what if you can't get rid of the source of fear? What if the threat is very real, like poverty or sickness or death? This is where the Stoics come in.
Their solution wasn't to change the world outside, but to build an unbreakable fortress inside your own soul.
The Roman philosopher Cicero gives us this absolutely beautiful metaphor for the Stoic goal. He says, a tranquil mind is like a perfectly calm sea. It's not that storms aren't happening on the horizon, it's that the depths of your soul are so profound that nothing on the surface can possibly stir them.
So how do you build this fortress? This is where the Stoics drop this revolutionary idea. Fear isn't caused by events, it's caused by our judgments about those events. So something happens, we slap a label on it like, this is evil, and poof, fear is born. The cure then is to correct that judgment. For a Stoic, external things aren't good or bad, they're just neutral. The only true evil is vice, a failure of your own moral character. If you can control your judgment, you can control your fear. It's that simple.
Then, the philosopher Seneca comes along and adds another incredible layer to this. He argued that fear isn't just about what might happen to us, it's also about what we have done. It's the shadow that our own guilty conscience casts over our lives.
Man, this line, it's just so powerful. What Seneca is saying is that you might get lucky. You might get away with something and escape punishment from the law, but you can never escape your own mind. The fear, the knowledge of what you did, becomes its own kind of prison that you can never break out of. From this perspective, the only way to be truly fearless is to live a good, virtuous life.
So, there we have it. We've just walked down 3 very different paths, all carved out by some of the greatest minds in history, but all leading to the same place, a life where fear doesn't call the shots. Let's just break it down one last time, really simple. For Aristotle, fear is a rational alarm bell about real threats. The goal is to understand them so you can manage them. For the Epicureans, fear is basically a sickness we get from believing in myths. The goal is to find tranquility by thinking rationally. And for the Stoics, fear is an arrow in your own thinking. The goal is to achieve inner peace and virtue by mastering your judgments.
And all of that leaves us with one final question to think about. The next time you feel that trembling start, the next time that shadow of expectation falls over you, what is fear to you? Is it a warning you need to listen to? Is it an illusion you need to bust with logic? Or is it a flawed judgment that you and only you have the power to correct? The ancients gave us the map, but the path we choose, well, that's up to us.